What's up guys, thanks for tuning in, and today we're going to be showing you how to install the Paragon Performance LED grill bezels that you can get for your C8 Corvette. It's not a hard job, takes a little bit of time, but we're going to show you all the different kinds of tips and tricks to make your job a bit easier. So with that being said, let's get started. So okay guys, this is going to be a pretty thorough install video to give you a better feel of the overall process of how to install these. Like I said, it's not difficult, it's just time consuming because there's a lot of screws that you have to remove and then put back on after the job is done. Typically for a shop, I would say that it'll probably take them about 2 hours or so to do this. It's not hard, but if you're doing it at home, I could say it could take anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. It took me about 4.5 hours to do mine, but I was trying to also record video while I was doing it. If you're looking for more information in regards to this product, I do have an unboxing and review video for these LED grill bezels so that you can check out, which gives you a lot of good information. And if you're interested in this product for your C8, I'll have links in the description below so you can check them out. By the way, thank you for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed already, I invite you to subscribe as well as hit that like button. It does help me know that this kind of video is useful to you as well as help grow the channel. So first and foremost, there's a few tools that you're going to need to get the job done. One is basically a jack lift and jack stands to actually lift the front of your C8. You need to be able to remove the wheels in order to get to all the inner linings, in order to get to the wheel linings as well as the bottom panels underneath the front bumper. Aside from that, you're going to need a 7mm and 10mm socket to be along with a T15 Torx bit in order to remove all the different screws you're going to remove. And there's quite a few. And from there, you're going to need basically a wrench to be able to use with those Torx bits, or I would recommend actually a power screwdriver, which will make the job go by much faster. And aside from the general things you need for removal and torquing down the wheels, that's pretty much all you need. So starting this install, the very first thing we need to do is lift the C8, or at minimum the front. This is needed so that we can remove the wheels, which is required to gain access to the wiring behind the headlight, as it will connect to the LED grill bezel through there. If you're looking for extra detail on how to properly lift your C8, my earlier how-to in lowering your C8 goes in greater detail on where to lift properly your C8. After which you want to remove the lug nuts and wheels using an impact driver or breaker bar. Keep in mind, if you're using a breaker bar, you'll need to do an initial loosening of the lug nuts before the car is lifted to get proper leverage. Next is removing the under tray panels. There are 3 main panels that need to be removed to gain access to the room to install the new grill bezels. The left and right trays lay over the middle so that they'll come out first before the center. You'll have a mix of T15 Torx screws as well as 7mm screws. Keep in mind there are 2 T15 screws hidden inside the wheel wells, which I'll show you where they are. The highlighted area is where the screws will need to come out for those panels, including for the front splitter if equipped. This is where I'll say it's really important to take pictures of the under tray to keep track of what kind of screw goes where. There's a lot of screws you need to take off, and just 15 in the front splitter for example. So start by removing the front splitter screws. There are 15 T15 screws that need to be removed regardless whether you have a front splitter or not. It's also probably a good thing to have some kind of tray handy, as you'll want to keep track of all the screws you need to remove. Now the rest of the screws needing to be removed will be a mix of T15 and 7mm hex screws. This is where I was definitely appreciating having a powered screwdriver instead of a regular wrench in this case, because there are so many you gotta get through. Also keep in mind, depending on when the last time those panels were removed, you may have random crud fall out. Shouldn't be more than some small rocks and random debris, but if you're looking directly up from underneath, you may have crud fall onto your eyes and face. Now the hidden T15 is hidden behind the flap located in front of the wheel well. It's a little hard to see, but you definitely want to make sure to remove from both the left and right side. Once all the screws are removed, it should be really easy to take out the 3 panel pieces. The next thing to tackle is removing the inner wheel liner. You'll need to remove the front splash guards and liner, which are held in place by T15 and 7mm screws. Once all the screws are removed, the lining should come out easy. Keep in mind there are 3 screws that need to be removed from underneath for the splash guard and liner. If needed, use a trim tool to help remove the splash guard. When you're ready to remove the liner, work lining edges first out of the wheel well. The lining is semi-flexible and can be worked to get out of the wheel well. If for any reason it's hard to take out, double check that all screws are removed, as there are a lot to take out. Once you've done that on one side, repeat on the other side. Next, if you have an aftermarket grille mesh installed, you'll need to temporarily remove them. Depending, this may require taking the front bumper completely off if you're using a mesh system like the Paragon grille mesh. If that's the case, you're nearly there to do that, which requires the front trim to be removed, which will expose the front top screws that will need to be removed. Next, you'll want to remove one 7mm screw and loosen two others on this attaching bracket to help gain the clearance needed on the front bumper to route the LED wires. After which, you're finally able to remove the OEM grill bezel. To show how to remove, it's actually easier to show what it looks like after being uninstalled. You'll have three main 7mm nuts that have to be removed. After they are removed, there are tabs that hold the bezel in place, and the piece can be removed starting from the center, working out. It's a pretty tight fit still to gain access to those 7mm nuts, so use a wrench to get it loosened and then unscrew by hand. Once it's removed, you're ready to install the new LED grill bezels. To start, place the cables through the grill mesh slot as shown. After, you'll want to align these three main studs and inside little tab. Then work to the outside tabs. The grill mesh and bumper are slightly flexible to help work the part into place and align all the tabs. Tighten the nuts using a 10mm socket. Tightening using your hands at first, which is easier with the clearance, and then do a final tightening using a wrench. Next, you'll need to take the wires and reroute them behind the radiator. Use the body lines as a guide on where the wires should go. If you haven't already, pull the edge of the bumper out to gain the extra clearance. Looking now from the wheel well, we can see where we need to remove the plug connecting to the front headlight. This will be disconnected so that we can connect everything with the provided wire harness. Also, we'll need to route the LED wires over this connector bracket to ensure wires reach where needed and don't get pinched on the bumper. At this point, it's a good time to choose whether you want your LED turn signals to either blink sequentially or solid. The purple wired connector is what chooses that option for you. If the connector is connected, you'll have a sequential turn signal. If it's disconnected, it will be solid. So to remove the main headlight connector, pull the red tab and press down on the switch. It's located on the other side of this connector that isn't easily seen, but similar to the red tab connector located near it. Take your time with removing this connector, as I found it to be a bit challenging to remove since it's at an awkward angle to get enough pressure on the switch to help release. Once removed, you can now take the provided cable and connect everything that is needed. Each connector is unique, so you can't accidentally mix them up. They will connect to the power supply, the main headlight, and the LED grill bezel. Once that's all connected, tuck the excess wire behind the brackets to keep it all out of the way. Once that side is down, then you can repeat the process on the other side. After you have the other side installed, you can do a test of the lighting. And if everything is looking good, you're ready now to install back the lining and panels and the millions of screws again. Reinstall everything in reverse order. Remember to tighten the 3 screws that attach the side fender to the front bumper. When placing the liner back on, I found it easier to start by aligning the front brake vent first and starting there and working your way back. You'll then repeat the process on the other side. So there's a few last steps that have to get done in order for this install to be complete, but my camera kind of crudded out when I was doing those last little bits, so I'm just going to talk through them. Essentially, all you have to do is install the lower panels, like just in reverse order from how you remove them. Like I was saying before, it's really important that you have a few pictures to reference off of to make sure you're not missing a few screws when you install everything. It's really hard, or it's really easy to have missed a few screws, and I'll be honest, I did that because I wasn't smart and didn't take any pictures, and that took me a little bit longer to make sure all the screws were back in the right spots. So after the panels are all installed, the last thing you need to do is put the wheels back on. Pretty straightforward. You just have to torque them down to 140 foot-pounds in a star pattern to make sure that everything is installed properly. And with that being said, you're done with your install. If you have any questions about this install, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. If you like this video, please check out any of my other C8 videos like this one here for your C8 or car needs.